Equal Opportunity for All Investors Act of 2023 will give Americans new opportunities to grow their wealth and savings.
If you want to invest in real estate at a higher level like I do, then you're eventually going to have to become what's called an accredited or sophisticated investor. Up until recently, this has been really hard to do, considering you either have to have $1 million in net worth, liquid, or be making over $200,000 a year. So as you can imagine, this keeps the majority of people from investing in rather lucrative deals, even if they have a sizable amount of investable cash and a lot of knowledge about what they're investing in. Some things that you have to be accredited to invest in includes private equity funds, hedge funds, angel investments, venture capital firms, and real estate syndications.
It is my firm belief that the accredited investor definition should not be tied exclusively to wealth. Instead, we should unlock opportunities for knowledgeable investors that may not come from means.
This has been an ongoing issue for several years. In fact, in 2020, we did make some headway. What they were able to accomplish is to allow people with certain licenses to become accredited investors, which is great. There's actually 4 of them that you could go study, take the test, and become that licensed person who's capable of investing in sophisticated deals. The problem is these licenses are very specific. They're very narrowly defined. They're really hard to get into. They cost money, and it's a license, so you have to maintain it and continue to pay and do more education. The thing is, they're really designed for people who are actually going into that industry, into that as a career. For example, Series 65 is for a securities advisor. It doesn't really make much sense that you would go through all that time and money to spend to become one just so you could invest in these deals. Yet people are doing it, and they have been since 2020 because there's not really another way. And that's where this new bill comes in that the House of Representatives passed on May 31st of this year.
This legislation expands the accredited investor definition to include individuals that are certified, as you've heard today, through an exam written by the SEC and administered by FINRA.
They're calling this the Equal Opportunity for All Investors Act, rightfully so, and this won in a landslide, 383 to 18, meaning it was bipartisan. Both Republicans and Democrats agreed that this is the right move. And so this bill paves a way for a new kind of test to be administered by a financial agency hosted by the government so that the average ordinary person who has the head smarts and enough capital to invest in these kind of deals doesn't need $1 million or to earn $200,000 a year or to become an advisor. This test would be specifically designed for the average investor to test their expertise and knowledge on things that are actually relevant to them versus what would be relevant to an advisor in a career role. This would be administered to the public completely free. Anyone would be able to take it. Now, yes, you will need to study. Yes, you will need to put in your A game, and there'll probably be a certain amount of questions that you have to get right. We don't know how many questions there are yet or what the pass rate is. All that is to come. And so this bill is super exciting for people like me who are kind of stuck in the middle. Maybe you're earning $150,000 a year, or maybe your net worth is $600,000 or $150,000. You maybe have the head smarts, or like me, you're a real estate agent. I live and breathe real estate here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Why can't someone like that invest in lucrative deals if they have the head smarts and the capital to do so? Not everyone is in support of this going through. Of course, there's always going to be opposition. One big opposition is that if we allow more people to invest in syndications and private deals, one, some people are afraid that these deals are going to get less lucrative, which I honestly don't think there's a lot of logic in that personally. 2, they're worried that people are going to get themselves into trouble, which if the test is designed correctly, if there's certain measures in place, that shouldn't be an issue. And not to mention, even if you have $1 million, you can still be stupid with your money. Maybe you inherited all of that. Everyone going into these kind of deals knows that there is a certain amount of risk. Everyone is taking risk, and if anyone ever tells you that a deal is risk-free, they're lying, and I would run the other direction. Some people also argue that most of these deals usually require a minimum of $50K, $100K to get into, and that's certainly true, but what I would say is there's plenty of deals that start with $5K, $25K, and there's a lot of big deals that, even though they typically would take $50K, if they get to the end and they're not quite meeting the quota of how much they need, they may open the doors to a lot more people who can all bring in $5K each. They just need the money.
This bill strikes an effective balance. It brings more investors into the accredited investor pool, but also contains guardrails that would filter out individuals that do not fully understand private offerings and the investment risks associated with them.
And at the end of the day, it's not the responsibility of these companies to make sure that you're comfortable with your investment. They aren't required, nor should they, to monitor your financial status and make sure that you're making a good decision for you. Just keep in mind that if you do go down this path, you become accredited and you invest, these deals can sometimes be highly illiquid. It could take 3 to 5 years to see any of your money back. And yes, technically some of these deals, they're not gonna work out. You may lose money, or maybe you just don't get the returns that you thought you would. So what happens next? Well, the bill is going to go to Senate. There's not a lot of information out there about the timeline of this. Anything government, just imagine it's probably going to take some time. Most people will agree that there's not a lot of bills that are similar to this one that gives precedence, so really it's anyone's guess as to where this goes from here. And even after it goes through Senate, the president would have to sign it for it to become law. But I think it's safe to say that we should expect to hear some news about it throughout the end of the year, if not the beginning of next year. And even once they do pass it, understand they're gonna have to take the time to make the test, to test the test, and to actually find a way to administer it in the best possible way. It's going to take some time. This is a big deal. It's gonna change investing for a lot of people, so we can be a little patient. In the meantime, there's nothing wrong with investing in smaller deals on your own or with partners. There's also plenty of syndications and business opportunities that don't require accreditation. If you want to learn more about that, make sure you put that down in the comments. I'll be happy to help you out. And if you're looking to get your next flip, house hack, rental, short-term rental, you name it, in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, then make sure you call the number down below or book a consultation with me and my team by clicking the link in the comments. If you want to learn more about Raleigh real estate, then make sure you click on one of these videos next.